Hi, welcome back. In this video, we're going to learn more about variables, how they should be formed, what rules variable names should follow, and we're also going to see a bunch of arithmetic operators and how they can be used along with variables in different arithmetic operations. So first, let's start with the variable names. Now, whenever you name a Python program variable, there are certain rules that need to be followed. Python variable names can only have uppercase, lowercase letters, numbers, and underscore. You cannot have any other special character or anything on them. And more importantly, you can not start a Python variable name with something other than a letter. You cannot start with a number. You could start with an underscore, but it's used for a different purpose in Python, so it's not recommended. So always start Python variable names with a letter. Also, there are a bunch of reserved keywords in Python. We saw some of them earlier in type conversions like int, float. There are a bunch of other reserved keywords that have a special meaning for Python. So you cannot use them as a variable name. Because if you think about it, if you put in an int as a variable name, Python would not know if you are referring to the reserved keyword meaning or if you are using as a variable. So because of that, you just cannot use those reserved keywords as variable names. Now, also, there are a bunch of arithmetic operators we're going to see. Plus, minus are kind of self-explanatory. Star is for multiplication. 1/ is for division. But if you use 2/, it's integer division. So the difference is a division could give you a floating point result, but an integer division basically removes that floating point and gives you an integer value. Now the percentage is called a modulus or remainder operator. It basically gives you the remainder of a division. And then 2 asterisks or 2 stars are used as exponentiation operator. Now let's quickly switch to terminal and let's see some examples of this. So we are in the Python interactive shell. Earlier we saw examples like typing numbers and then seeing the result. We also saw that you could do arithmetic operation like this and get the result back. But now we're going to try to use some variables. You can say num equals 20. And if you say num, it's going to display 20 back. Now let's create or try to create a variable that starts with 34. As you can see, we got an error back because you cannot start a variable name with a number. You should always start it with an underscore, or sorry, with a letter. Now you could put an underscore like this and then say 30, and that's okay. You're using the underscore in the middle of the variable name, and that's fine. Now let's create some variables. A equals 10, B equals 20, and then let's try to do some of those arithmetic operators. So we can say C equals A plus B. What we are saying here is sum A and B together, and whatever result we get, assign to C. Now if you run that, there's not going to be any output, because normally if you type a variable, you get the output back, but here you're typing an operation. So all Python will do is complete that operation and then assign the result to C. If you want to see the result, you have to type C and you get 30 back. Similarly, you could do subtraction. So here, basically, we're using the same variable C. So it's just going to replace the value, right? So if we see here, that's minus 10. So 10 minus 20 is minus 10. Now you could do the multiplication. Let's just create a new variable, A into B, and then type D to get the result back. And then let's see the division. Let's see E equals B/A. You got 2.0. Like I said, division always gives you a floating point. Here it was a proper division. You just got 2.0 back. Now if you try to say F equals 5/2 and then type F, you got 2.5. Now, if you just wanted to do an integer division, like I said, integer division basically eliminates the floating point and gives you an integer value. You could say f equals 5 / 2. Now, if you type f, you get 2 back. So that's the difference between normal division and an integer division. So the remaining two operators are the modulus, which gives you the remainder, and then exponentiation, which is the two asterisks. So let's say g equals 5 modulus 2. So if you divide 5 by 2, the remainder is going to be 1. So you got the remainder and it's assigned to g. And similarly, we can do the exponentiation. So h equals 2 * 5. So we're expecting to see 32. So there you go. We saw all the basic arithmetic operators. Now we're going to see a slight variation of this. Imagine a having 10 again, b having 20. Now I want to sum a and b together, but then assign the value to a. You can simply say a equals a plus b. So Python will just sum a and b together, whatever value they currently have, but then assign the result to a. So now a's value is 30, it's no longer 10. Now there is a shorthand way of saying this. I could have just said a plus equals b, which means exactly the same as a equals a plus b. Python is going to sum a and b together and assign the result to a. So now a's value is 30, we're adding 20 more to it. Now if you type a, you get 50. So this is just a shorthand way of saying a equals a plus b. Now similarly, you could do the same with subtraction, multiplication, division. Whenever you want to do an operation like this, but then assign the result to a variable that's used in the operation, you could do this shorthand way. So those are all the arithmetic operators and what I wanted to show about variable names. I highly encourage you to create as many variable names as you want in this interactive shell and play with that, and also the arithmetic operations. That will give you a good grasp on how these can be used. Oh, one thing I wanted to show is how you can use parentheses too. So I can do a plus b into 2, or we can say h, for example, and then type a, you got the result back. So this way you can also have more than 2 variables in the expression. That's what I wanted to show. You're not restricted to just 2. You could build any expression with any number of variables you want, and then assign the result to a particular variable and see the result. So highly recommend you to play with variables, operators, and writing all these expressions and see how the result comes out. Thank you. See you in the next video.